Hey, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Curation Live. I'm Polly, and joining me, as always, the incorrigible Inquisitor 8.1 quiz. How are you, man?
I'm okay, and I just threw myself into cognitive dissonance because I had the stream on again. Shut up!
I just said before we went live, I
Shut
said
up!
I'm going to mute myself so I don't confuse myself. You didn't do the same?
No, shut up.
No, shut up. Okay, that's fine. All right. And joining us, rounding out our triumvirate of awesome, is the master of mirth, the sorcerer of sarcasm, the wizard of witticisms, and lest we forget, the man who will very likely be late for his own funeral, Jack from Bad Comic Reviews. Jack, other than tardy, how are you?
I'm fine. Still not tardy, though. Nice try.
Really pushing that. Really pushing it.
So, doing a roll call, we could see who's here and been waiting for Jack this entire time patiently with the rest of us. Mule 1066, of course. Mule, always good to have you here. This is Kyle, Chaos Eve. Hey, Chaos. How's it going? Johnny Blaze is here. Who doesn't have a wrench? That's weird. I gotta give Johnny a wrench. Ginger Power's here. Johnny Hellcat. And Weebo. We're not good enough for Weebo. No, wait a minute. Yes, we are. Weebo's been on. We're good enough for her. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine. Yeah. Ooh, and Ebony Williams is here. Hey, Ebony.
Yeah, Ebony, Grisella, Peter.
Yeah. Oh, and Peter's here. Hey, Peter.
Ryan Walters.
So, I asked these two guys, and the answer was no. So I'm curious from chat. Have any of you seen X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue cut? I guess what? Press 1 if yes, 2 if no, 3 if what the fuck are you talking about, Polly? For those of you who don't know, X-Men Days of Future Past, the film, had, like, what was it, 25 minutes or so of footage cut out of it that had a lot to deal with the character Rogue, and they cut all that material out to get it down to like 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Getting a lot of 3, 2, 3, 2. So yeah, a lot of no's. It's actually available. It's not like a fan edit or something like that. It's available on Amazon if you want to buy it, and it restores all of those story elements of largely had to do with Rogue, but some parts of the fish out of water story of when Logan Wolverine goes back to the 70s, some of his holy shit, I'm back in time elements. And that explains our thumbnail for today, for those of you who didn't see it on Twitter, because, you know, hot Rogue and all. I mean, come on, look at those eyes. That's sexy. That's a very sexy picture.
Those eyes and that smirk, that's a come hither look. And then then she'll steal your powers.
Well, it's come hither or just try it, motherfucker. I'll rip you in half.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
No, I just realized where the MGTOWs got that idea that women have these like magical juices that can control your mind. They got it from Rogue because she'll literally steal your powers.
Yeah. And
Rogue creates MGTOWs.
She steals your powers and your resources. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she's stealing your resources, knocks you out, probably takes your wallet,
steals your resources.
That's what she's doing.
Oh my god.
Ah, she's somebody's divorce character. Somebody got divorced. Was it Claremont? It was like, I'm getting divorced, and this bitch is taking all my stuff. Okay, she's a super villain now.
She's like 20 to 22 years old, isn't she, Quiz?
Polly, we've been over this.
Well,
talked about it on the X-Men #1 episode of Comic Book Curation. Callback. You should go and watch those.
You should, but that was like, believe it or not, that was like a year ago, man.
I know. But yeah, no, remember, comic books exist in this nebula where no one ever ages. And if the only thing that actually ages is like the era in which the comic is taking place.
Yeah.
Because Batman, how old is Batman? He sure as fuck isn't over, was it? God.
Well, he's supposed to be perpetually between 28 and 30 years old.
He was made in the 30s, so he's definitely not 80 years old. So
well, unless he's in Dark Knight Returns where he's 54.
Yeah.
Yeah. In any case,
not 80.
No, in the 80s, she had really short hair, and it made her look really super old.
Yeah.
Ryan Walters, Days of Future Fap. I don't know what you're talking about. That's so yeah, lots going on in Comicsgate this week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It
got editor Q trying to suck a has-been comedian's dick.
oh yeah, we can pull up that story right away if you guys want to. I mean, because it's over and done with so fast. Where is it here? Joe Quesada attempts to troll Bill Maher from the Stan Lee tribute in Los Angeles. Here, let's take a quick look at that. There we go. And okay, almost everybody here is like a shitlord, or at least understands shitlordery. This is Joe Quesada, the chief creative officer. Is that his title at Marvel?
Something like that. Yeah, because he's no longer the chief editor anymore, is he?
No, he's not. So like Joe Quesada, who is no friends of Comicsgate, I mean, for Christ's sake, he follows Renfamous. Like this is his, and he's a blue check mark. Shocker. Right. Yeah. Hey, Bill Maher, still a bit more than an hour to claim my +1, but at this point, I can't promise a good seat. Oh, so spicy. Like, yeah.
No, Joe Quesada is fucking sucking some dick to try and get in with the Hollywood people because he hates comics. That much is absolutely fucking apparent. And Joe Quesada, you are as much of a scumbag as Bill Maher. I don't give a shit if this was an attempt at trolling. You are equally as awful.
Yeah. I mean, this was as spicy as a boiled potato. It was, I mean.
No, I think this is his attempt to get on the show.
Yeah.
By the way, for those who don't know, his +1 is the tribute to Stan Lee, which we've already been over. Bill Maher has absolutely no feelings about at all.
No, and 113 likes. You don't have a lot of people following you, do you, Joe? Maybe it's spiked up. Maybe they grab. Oh yeah, well down here it's like, well, Bill Maher, you're going to miss one hell of an after party too, and that got up to 755 likes. So I didn't even think about that, Jack. Actually, that's an interesting point. This is his attempt to get on to real time with Bill Maher.
Yeah, which would get him in with those Hollywood people that Quiz was just talking about.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it along that, because yeah, it's kind of poking fun at him, but it's doing it in such a nice, friendly way that you'd think they were buddies or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I right. Yeah.
And I would like to point out that the after party is probably one of the most pathetic things at a nerd gathering that I've ever been to. So what kind of after party is it going to be with Joe Quesada and a bunch of social justice warriors?
Oh, it's going to be awful.
There's about 1,000 Me Too complaints coming from that, especially if there's any booze. The fun would just be sucked out of the entire building.
Oh,
so like people on the 5th floor of the hotel they're having this thing at are probably like, I feel the cry of 1,000 humorists leaving us.
So, for those of you who don't know, and we're not going to spend too long on this because Jack has started to convince me the more attention paid, the worse off we are. Big things going on in Comicsgate this week because one of the bigger, more infamous, if you will, anti-Comicsgate trolls out there is a character by the name of Renfamous. And she showed up on none other than Kevin Logan's channel. Now, Kevin Logan, for those of you who don't know, well, God bless you because you don't know. I'm going to make your life worse by informing you now. Is it what? Like he's a member of Dr. Christy Winter's crew. He's friends with Michael New Zealand Rowlands. Michael Rowlands, thank you. And Steve Shives, he's part of that crowd, right? And they're all pro-feminists, constantly accusing everybody and their dog of being a rape apologist. They were anti-gamer gators in a huge way years ago when they were still relevant. And now Kevin Logan, in a pathetic ploy to become relevant again, is suddenly anti-Comicsgate because that's the new thing. And so he brings on the biggest anti-comics skater that he could get his hands on, and she decided to actually show up.
Holy shit, hold on. This is Kyle said potatoes. Which, if, for those that don't know, Kevin Logan has often been compared to a potato. Not like Polly's computer, like he looks like a potato.
He does. He looks like a hairy potato.
But
I like Johnny Hellcat called him a male cat lady, and I like that.
Yes, absolutely. He is. But
his avatar is a cat. He talks endlessly about his cat. He literally is a male cat lady. Anyway, so go on, Quiz.
Well, the one thing that got me though, Polly, is Christy's just hungry. She's just hungry. She has Kevin Logan, and this came to me because you said the name immediately when I read potatoes from This Is Kyle. You said Steve Shives. Potato and Shives.
Oh my God.
Christy's just hungry.
Well, okay. What kills me is that, Christy Winters is, if you guys haven't seen her as of late, has lost a lot of weight, whereas Renfimus seems to have found it.
Now, because I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have an idea I want to throw out there. If somebody could put a Galactus headdress on Christy Winters and a potato shaped like Kevin Logan and some chives right next to it.
A little bowl of chive heads. Those are the chives.
Yeah. Or just some chives with the hat.
Yes.
You are always attempting to employ our audience, wonderful people that they are, to do memes for you. You need to get better at Photoshop, Jack.
No, I don't. I'm terrible at it. It takes me like 6 hours to try and cut one little thing out. It's pathetic. You watched last night when I was creating the new commercial for Weebs for Comic Book Curation Live, and you saw how much work it is. There's no way around it, man. You just got to pile through and grind it out. I can't do it. I don't have the attention span for it.
Why do you think that I do it on stream or hanging out with people talking or having an audiobook playing? You think I got the attention span to just focus on that shit? Come on.
I'm already doing way too much nonsense on the computer.
Yes. Well, okay. I will pile through this story and get it over with fast. There's a bunch of pictures of it. No. It's I hear you. And like I said, you said, like, let's not talk about Renfimus because what she's looking for is attention, Mm-hmm. And the more attention we give her, the worse off that it is. And I was watching that Umbrella Guy's stream. If you guys are interested in Comicsgate or comics in general, and you're not watching Umbrella Guy, check him out. He's awesome.
Unless he's streaming at the same time we are.
That's right, because it's like Ethan Van Sciver streaming right now, trying to pilfer our audience because he's afraid we're going to take.
Oh, don't tell them. They'll go over there. No,
they won't. No, they won't. They did said Ethan only starts streaming when we're streaming because he knows we're real competition. I can't even say without laughing.
Our audience is loyal, Polly.
Yeah, our audience is awesome. It's just I can't get through the statement that we're going to ruin Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh, we will. Ethan is afraid. He's quaking in his boots. We're calling you out.
Why else would he not be on our stream?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, that actually leads us back in an interesting segue to what was going on. Kevin Logan called his stream talking with Renfimus about Comicsgate and Ethan Van Sciver, yet refused to allow Ethan Van Sciver to come on the stream while they went on for an hour and talked about the guy. We're like real ripped him apart and brought up all the things like the bandied about rumors and this guy's terrible and he's late with Cyberfrog and he's just grafting or grifting off of a bunch of MAGA supporters and God, all the tired ass boring talking points that she splatters around on Twitter. And I'm with Ethan on this one. The lady can turn a phrase. She can be funny on Twitter, but coming out from behind her keyboard was not a good look. It was, like Ethan said, it kind of ruined her mystique that she was this dangerous PR person behind the keyboard, like, because she can turn a phrase. She is saucy when she wants to be, no question. But to see her speaking live, she was warbly, nervous.
I'll say this. One impression I immediately got from her is she had the just about to cry mannerisms that what's her name, Chrissiosity does.
Yeah, well, Chrissy Aussie always sounds, well, no, let's be honest. Nobody sounds like they're about to break out into tears as much as Chrissy Aussie. Like at any moment, she sounds like she's about to break down. It's really odd.
Yeah. I said almost.
Yeah, you did. And, and she appears with bright blue hair. And if you ask me, that was an obvious PR troll. She wants to be known as that social justice warrior, so other people will flock to her cause. She's not stupid. She had Solo, as in Solo, a Star Wars story, playing on a TV in the background. That wasn't by accident. This, like I said, she's not stupid. She's very clever at what she's, or cunning rather, at what she's doing.
I think she was trying to bait people by saying, "Oh, look at this fucking blue-haired feminist."
And if it, well, that's an interesting thing. James Colley says, I will become loyal as long as SDA isn't a guest on your show. Ouch.
Oh, that's harsh.
That is fucking harsh. Holy shit. We talk about like trying to bait people. Okay, let's take a look at this tweet that I pulled from that Tug had saved, the Umbrella Guy saved, and I grabbed it off of his stream as a screen freeze today. When I worked for the Republican Party, because yes, Renfamus used to be a far right winger complaining about the gay conspiracy to burn churches and the whole 9 yards. And no, I'm not kidding. Those were her words.
Oh, yeah, my pinned tweet is all about her.
Wait, what?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You didn't know that?
No.
Dude, my pinned tweet
For
is
real?
Yeah, my pinned tweet right now is still calling her out on her thoughts about the gay agenda.
Yeah, there's a big gay agenda, gay conspiracy to take down religion. Don't be surprised when they're lining up to burn churches, the whole 9 yards. She used to be a hard right winger, man, and in the same way, meaning trolling on social media, fucking with people, etc. Except her claim now is, and I don't know, I don't really have any other choice but to take her at her word that she had this huge political turnaround, 180 degrees, because now she's a so-called social justice warrior. And Comicsgate is her cause of all things, which is odd. Like, you were going after the gay agenda before, and now you're going after people that are tired of social justice infiltrating comic books and them being used as propaganda. That's your new mission? That's weird. But here she is when she was going by Grimfamous, which is what she was going for during the Halloween time that she had changed her name. When I worked for the Republican Party, my job was literally to bait people until they got angry enough to make a scene and draw attention to me and my message. The methods they use are really easy to recognize once you know what to look for. Probably write this up this weekend. It's like, there's a lot being said there. If you don't want to be thought of as a paid troll or as a deliberate troll, Renfamus, why would you tweet this? But then I get it. She's talking about them. She's thinking that because she is a duplicitous two-face trying to bait people into getting angry, that anything that a Comicsgate supporter says must just be an attempt to make someone angry. And it's like, no, I literally do not think Riri Williams is a good character. I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm trying to tell you I think the character's terrible.
Well, this also goes directly to what I was saying. She's trying to get her name out there. This is brand recognition.
Yeah.
And that's all she's doing by baiting people into reacting, is then when she says something, her name is in everybody's mouth.
And to go on Kevin Logan's show is the height of attempting to seek a soft room, a soft audience, an easy interviewer. And Logan, it wasn't like, okay, so here's Renfamus, whatever. I had more entertainment watching Kevin Logan do his thing. Like this completely out of touch guy who knows, 1, nothing about comic books. 2, nothing about Comicsgate. 3, nothing that Renfamus was talking about. She was having to explain everything to him. She mentions Gail Simone. He doesn't know who the fuck that is. He had no idea who Ethan Van Sciver was at all. Like, none of your boy Zach, Richard Meyer, again, she's having to explain all this stuff from the ground up. The guy must have at least a dozen times said, this reminds me of when in Gamergate. Oh, like in Gamergate this one time. I remember when Gamergaters, because that's the only way he can speak to anything that's happening, attempt to connect it to 3-4 years ago when this son of a bitch was actually still relevant.
Yeah. Well, see, she went on this show because it's not just a soft room. It's a baked potato.
So
yeah, Renfamus probably was pretty hungry.
So there it was, and it I don't know it. And, you know, just for the record, there's a couple of things, just so people know that I'm not parroting the words of others. One, okay, yeah, she was a lot fatter than she looks, pudgier than she looks in her other pictures. I didn't think she was that ugly. I think people need to calm down. She's not ugly. She's not the most beautiful woman in the world, but people make it sound like she was Medusa. Calm down.
Who, Infamous?
Yeah.
No, and see, that's the thing, is that when you said that she was fat,
Not pudgy. She's heavier than she looks in the pictures that were going around online, is what I mean. You know.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I thought you were crazy until I caught the slightest glimpse of her double chin.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I totally see what Polly means now. Because she hides it well. At least when she's like making herself small and hunching her shoulders, she hides it well.
Yeah, and this, but you know, everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, he's so ugly, and it's like, not really. But to be honest, it's if you want to bust balls on the dumb shit she was saying and on the transparent talking points, she just went down a mental list. She had memorized all of the things that here's the stuff I'm going to go over and talk about. I'm going to go over Ethan Van Sciver having done this. I'm going to go over him in Cyberfrog. I'm going to go over him grifting off of the MAGA community. I'm going to go off of purchases of Cyberfrog being a protest purchase. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm absolutely shocked that that she didn't bring up my struggle.
I know, and didn't. And Ethan Van Sciver himself said that a couple of times on his own stream. By the way, for those who don't know, he stream sniped her. He put up the stream on Kevin Logan's channel on an iPad and pointed his camera at the iPad and had 2,300 people watching it on his channel. And Logan had something like 450 people watching it on his. Mm-hmm. You know, and Christy and Kevin apparently are making a push to be relevant again, to come back again, because how long can you possibly talk about, you know, Sargon, Bering, Sargon, Trump, Bering, you know, how long can you,
Trump, Bering, Sargon?
How long can you do that for? So the very next day, less than 24 hours later, they're stream sniping Medicare on stream.me, interviewing Kraut T. And they called the stream words to that effect, stream sniping Jim and Kraut with Christy and Kevin Logan. And I'm like, what in the name of hell do either one of you two have to do with either Kraut T or Medicare? Like,
Nothing.
What do you?
They're vultures.
You just stream sniped them because you got stream sniped the day before and you're making a push to be relevant. It was sad, man. It was just sad. Just stay out of it. Stay out of Comicsgate. You don't belong here. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You would need to do months and months worth of reading just to catch up to all the things that have gone on. You know. Anyway.
So was Redfamous wearing a wig, or was that her real hair?
I think
it was a wig.
That's what I thought.
And again, cunning woman, right? Because right away in the tweets, I went and checked out her Twitter page, and right away she said, all anybody could talk about was that shitty, cheap blue wig that I decided to wear, and didn't refute any of my points. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Well, I mean,
that's pretty clever on her part, because of course people are going to talk about that. It's hard not to look at her and not see this, you know, hyper blue wig that she's wearing. It's going to pull your attention in, and that's what you're going to comment on, and it's going to make you look like a superficial asshole for doing so. Clever girl.
I thought it was brilliant because it draws away from her chub rolls. And, you know, because I have a feeling that I saw some of her cosplay pictures ages ago, and she was okay then, but she's clearly put on some weight. So now she looks forgettable. So she put on the wig to stand out, because otherwise she's just an average looking person that if she was walking down the street, you wouldn't pay any attention to, which is the last thing somebody like her wants, is to be ignored. I will not be ignored. She'll boil your bunny rabbits. If you haven't seen Fatal Attraction, kids.
You want to see the fastest, stupidest story that I have tonight?
Sure.
Okay. Check it out. Here we are on CBR.com. Okay. January 31st. Rumor. Marvel Comics may be heading to the West Coast. The next day. Rumor debunked. Marvel Comics not moving to the West Coast. You suck, CBR. You fucking suck.
Wow.
Well, wait, hold on. Wait, what's funny about that? Look at it. By
Okay.
Tim Weber.
Yeah.
By Stephen Girding.
Yeah. Do you guys even know each other? Do you work in the same like city? It's,
I want to see like several paragraphs in. It says, sorry for the previous rumor. The person who spread that rumor has been sacked.
No, those are the guys that hate each other in the office. The other one's like, oh yeah, you debunked.
Remember that time you drank my coffee? Oh, well, here we go. It's
Steal my lunch, motherfucker.
That was my K-cup, you asshole.
It had my name on it, damn it.
That was my grande.
Like, this is, we love bust balls on garbage tier websites here. And like, this is just, God, that's great.
So sad.
So there, that's the fastest, stupidest story I've got for the night. Hey, did you know Rob Liefeld is announces the final story he's telling?
Is he committing suicide?
It's just-
I'm just saying, that's not how you say things.
well, it's yeah, okay.
Let this be my final story.
Well, I mean,
Dude.
I didn't think about that, but you did. Deadpool. Liefeld announces his final story starring the Merc with a mouth. Yeah, and I mean, the whole story is that, like, this is a non-story. This is CBR looking for something to talk about. Deadpool co-creator, air quotes, Rob Liefeld confirmed that Deadpool Batter Blood will be his final story before he does himself in, apparently. On Instagram, revealed that this is his last take on the character will unfold in Deadpool Batter Blood, a sequel to 2017's Deadpool Bad Blood. Really, Rob? Because I haven't been reading it. You went with Bad Blood and the sequel is Batter Blood?
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow, are we going to see an article from Tim or Steve debunking this article?
No, he's going to make a third Deadpool, and it's got to be Baddest Blood.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Even Batter Blood. Johnny Blaze asks what about the guy Mike S from Comicsgate? Well, you might be referring to Mike S Miller, sparking controversy over the use of a Mike Wernigo cover sketch. Yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah, Mike Miller. Yeah.
They took off and then he burned the original art, but it was actually a copy. Anyway, let's just read the story and see what CBR's take on it is. Who wrote this, by the way? Brian Crolin. Comic book Mike S. Miller drew criticism. See what they did there? Drew criticism. Clever. Over the weekend on his attempt to repurpose a cover sketch by late comic book artist Mike Wernigo as a finished cover for Miller's creator-owned independent comic book. The controversy came when Miller announced his plan to market the art as Mike's final published cover, when it was merely a cover sketch that Miller penciled and inked over himself, marketing it as a Mike cover. Both misleading readers as to Wernigo's involvement in the drawing, as well as Wernigo's willingness to have his work be published on the cover of Miller's independent comic series. Everything started on January 22nd when Miller tweeted he had an old Mike Wernigo cover breakdown he was planning on turning into a cover for his independent series, Lone Star. So I have this old Spider-Man cover breakdown by Mike Wernigo, and I'm thinking about finishing it, but making it into a Lone Star cover instead. Thoughts? There is what it looked like after he did it. Clearly, originally a Spider-Man. You can even see the,
Yeah, that's his Lone Star sense.
God damn it, you beat me to it.
His Lone Star sense. Yeah. A week later, Miller posted the penciled and ink cover, calling it perhaps the last Wernigo original cover to ever see print. Wernigo passed away in 2007 at the age of 44 due to an aortic dissection. Wow. That sounds like somebody did an error in surgery. I'm not trying to make fun of the dead man. I've just never heard of that. That's weird.
That seems strange, yeah.
It does sound awful. Well, rest in peace, Wernigo. I mean, that's over the weekend, other comic artists, including Dave Johnson and Cully Hamner, began to express their displeasure at Miller's actions. Hamner tweeted to Miller, pointing out that since all Miller had was a Wernigo cover breakdown, the final published work was not a Mike original cover. And this is them tweeting back and forth. And there's, this kind of thing, breakdown. Not only was the cover not an original work by Wernigo, Hamner also pointed out that there was no way that the late Wernigo would possibly give consent to his cover breakdown from 1996 being used as a cover for Miller's comic book in 2019.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah, here's the published Sensational Spider-Man cover, by the way, that Wernigo's breakdown was from. Doesn't look so 96. That looks more like early 2000s, but okay, that's cool.
I thought that looked familiar, but
well, the letter face there for the Sensational Spider-Man is definitely 90s. Because didn't they stop doing the whole like fuzzy edged bottom of the letters for Spider-Man?
Yeah.
The other issue is that Wernigo, of course, did not sign this cover breakdown back in 1996, and yet his signature was on Miller's finished work. Miller appears to have copied his iconic signature from his own work. Yeah, and some people, like I've heard say that, is it the only thing that he did that was wrong? Like, it was an homage. It's not like he was secret about it. As a matter of fact, he was public as fuck with what he was doing, taking this breakdown and repurposing it, right? Lots of people do homages. Some of my favorite homages that have ever been done, like deliberate copyings of things, are for The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, there where artists all over the place, from Jim Lee to fucking Frank Miller himself, are all copying stuff and reimagining it in their own style from the original Batman The Dark Knight Returns from 1986. Is there anything wrong with that? No, because every one of them is signed Jim Lee after Miller. Like, it's an artistic homage. Some people say, I don't see a problem with anything he did except for signing the guy's name to it. That's some people's call on it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, okay. We've already had this discussion before, Polly. Yet another callback. Go back and watch our America Chavez number 3 comic book curation, because we had the whole thing about the cover being a straight up ripoff. And it was.
It was, and he didn't name the person. That's a crucial aspect that you say it's this person and ode to. Remember? It does. It says that on the cover. I don't remember him saying that. Did he?
Yeah, we even bring it up in the thing. Here, hold on. Let me get. I still have it on my computer. Why? Why do I have America Chavez? It's
he really wrote the person's name on the cover? I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, he didn't use the signature. That's the difference. Yeah, right. It's 2007 after Simonson.
No shit. Okay. Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. I don't think necessarily it is a bad thing to give an homage and stuff like that, but it has to be. To me, it seems like it should be fundamentally changed in some way, and the Simonson cover there was not fundamentally changed. This Miller cover, if that other Spider-Man is the actual use of that proof, then yeah, this Miller cover is Mark S. Miller or Mike S. Miller is fundamentally changed. There is a lot of marked notable differences, except for the Lone Star Sense. So that's there's something to that, but it's a little sketchy to me if people are going to be using other people's art in some extremely deliberate sort of way like that. I don't necessarily think it's plagiarism, but it's a bad show.
Let me show you something here. This is a John Byrne cover from '86.
Hold on, let me go over there. Okay.
And this imagery has been used and reused. This is actually an homage cover, I think, to an old Legion issue back in the 70s or something. But this cover has been copied and mimicked dozens of times since '86. And this was not even the original imagery. This was an homage cover too. This is a great example of, I think, what he was going for is to do an homage similar to what this is, and you'll see this same image, like I said, with different characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I think that might have been the original intention, but he knew it would get more press by saying it was the last real published cover. I think that was hyperbole to get in the press and get controversy started for his book.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it above Mike S. Miller for that sort of thing.
It's good marketing. I mean,
well,
it's a douche thing to do, but it's good marketing.
Now, okay, get this. So things got worse. And hold on, what's the date of this article? Because it's crucial. February 4th. Okay, yeah. That's I don't think they updated this story. They just left it where it was. Mike S. Miller tweets out, I will be uploading a video of my final solution to the Mike Wendigo cover controversy in a few minutes. Please subscribe to blacklistuniverse.com, which is his website, so you don't miss the premiere. His final solution was to burn it. Set it down on his lit barbecue and it lit it on fire. Get it? Final solution. It burning. He knew that was going to trigger some people, right? On purpose. It was a copy he burned. He copied it onto Bristol board paper, knowing it was going to piss people off. He trolled the fuck out of them. Mm-hmm. And before he did it, he made a video going, here's the original. Here's the copy I made. I'm going to burn this one. Ready? Here we go. And then went outside, and that's where you see the video clip start, him putting the copy up on the barbecue and referring to it as his quote final solution, because he knew everyone. He goes, and he says, I'm doing this because I know the outrage mob on Twitter is just going to freak out and lose their fucking mind over this. And did they? Oh yeah,
of course they did. But I think that was the intention the whole time. Was he was really going to do an homage cover, and he's like, how can I get this to get better attention? I don't. That's cynical of me, I suppose, but it seems to have worked really well as getting publicity if CBR is talking about it.
Yeah. So CBR did end up talking about it, and there's the Mike S. Miller story. But for those who are anti-Comicsgate, this just served to demonstrate that Comicsgaters, of which Mike S. Miller absolutely is, full-on Comicsgate supporter, that they're assholes, basically. You know what I mean? But they're going to think that no matter what is the short version of this story. That the guy was looking to generate a little discussion around himself and absolutely succeeded in doing that, to the point where CBR is now talking about him when they never would have touched him with a 10-foot pole before, except to call him a Nazi or a bigot or whatever, you know. The Asian Nazi, by the way.
As an asshole, I'd like him to stop appropriating my culture.
I can get behind some of the things that Mike S. Miller says and does, but some of the other stuff that he does, I'm just like, I can't agree with him at all.
Like?
I don't know. It's just some of the stuff he said in some of the chats. I can't, if you put me on the spot, I wouldn't be able to name something immediately offhand, but
every now and then he just says something that it sticks out to
you. Yeah. And he's definitely one of those people that is if you're not with Comicsgate, you're against us sort of thing. The sort of person that lends a lot of credence to Jim Helis's interaction with the Comicsgate crowd.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you see that a lot with like the war campaign guys. It's hard to tell if they're joking and when they're not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was brilliant marketing that he actually pulled off well once, but I think a lot of these guys that are doing indie books are relying too heavily on gimmicks like this, and it just makes people feel like you're a snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there it is. There's good people, bad people, people in between, and every other range inside of Comicsgate. You know why? It's diverse. Haha.
Well, it's almost like it's not an organized movement. It's about people saying, this is fundamentally broken. We don't like what you're doing. Please do something different. And the people that are that are against Comicsgate are the people that are saying, hey, everything's perfectly fine, as they play the violins while the ship goes down.
Don't try and sell that quiz. Clearly, this is organized by Russians. Mike S. Miller is clearly an agent of Russian reptilians.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Nobody doubted reptilian involvement.
Those Japanese Russian reptilians.
The Japo-Russian reptilians? Oh, man.
That's even worse.
That's horrifying.
I got great news for you
That's
guys, though.
sexy.
Great news. Rumor: CBS to cancel Star Trek Discovery. Hell yeah!
Awesome.
I don't know what website is this.
This is Bounding into Comics.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say because we know how much we can trust rumors from CBR.
Right. You know, the very next day, rumor debunked. You know, it's so it is just a rumor, but by all means, let's read about it. And I love this look of like, no, we're progressive. Okay, hold on.
Don't cancel us.
A new rumor indicates that CBS might cancel their premiere streaming show, Star Trek Discovery, known by the fans as STD, for obvious reasons. YouTuber Nerdrotic? Nerdrotic, whatever. I don't watch Nerdrotic. Nerdotic.
Nerdotic sounds like something that, like, it's like a glasses wearing neebish tick that would get in your leg and give you Lyme disease.
Well, that's great. It's like, I've never heard of this person. So I'm like, oh, the guy, I've never heard of this person. You know, look at us with our couple hundred whatever subscribers. And like, this guy's, he's probably like a comic historian. He's probably got like 2 million subs or some shit.
Yeah.
He's got corporate backing. In any case.
I will have to say, though, I do like Comic Historian.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Well, you know, for some of the clickbaity fucking videos that they put out, it has led to me seeing stuff that I've never seen before. So I don't know.
If you want some like PG comics material, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean something where they're talking about like the history and, you know, new comics that have come up and a lot of the lore, check out Comic Book Tropes. That guy's awesome. His stuff's way better. He's not a Comicsgate supporter, but he's not a detractor either. He's just sort of just loves his comics. Comic Book Tropes, great channel if you want to do some PG comic stuff. Comic Historian, nah, that's not my flavor.
That guy's kind of a douche.
Yeah, he really kind of is. So anyway, Nerdrotic here, YouTuber Nerdrotic, spoke to a couple of his sources connected to the show to figure out whether or not there will be a renewed third season. But he also points to Star Trek Discovery actor Anson Mount's recent tweets that appear to show the series has been canceled.
Well, I mean, would anybody be surprised if it was? That show has got to cost them a fortune to make.
Apologies, I had to sneeze there. Sorry for the silence, but
No worries.
okay. You know, it does cost them a fortune. You're absolutely right. And one of the things that a lot of people talk about is, and has been reported, especially really well on Past Midnight's Edge, or just Midnight's Edge, is how Netflix and their licensing of STD basically paid for the entire first season's budget, and then did not opt to pick up season 2 because the first season sucked. Yeah. So they got no views off of it because it sucked. And so they're now stuck. CBS Paramount and CBS streaming is stuck with the entire bill for season 2 when they were thinking it was going to again be paid for entirely by licensing it out to other streaming services. No such luck, motherfuckers. So you're quite right. It's expensive as fuck now. Neurotic's first piece of evidence comes from the Star Trek Discovery. Oh, man, I just read that. Mount recently tweeted that he was, quote, experiencing #unemployment and that he would, quote, act for food. Not only does he mention he's experiencing unemployment, but he's with fellow Star Trek Discovery actor Ethan Peck, who plays Spock. Oh, Spock got fired and he hasn't even started his first season. Look at him, he's hanging out in front of the now hiring sign. Isn't that great? Mount would follow...
Dude, I bought Chipotle from Spock.
well, see, that's the thing is you see what the restaurant is, right?
Mm-hmm.
El Pollo Loco. You know what that is?
No.
So yeah.
From Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Okay.
That
go on.
Means that they're probably on a movie set or a TV set or something. I don't know that El Pollo Loco is an actual thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying. It doesn't seem like they're getting a job at a fucking chicken restaurant.
I listen. I'm just saying that I'm just reading what's written here, man.
Well, I'm just saying.
Is it El
Are you-
Polo Loco?
Why are you trying to ruin my excitement and enjoyment around STD possibly being canceled? And as Ryan Walters cleverly points out, STD will flare up a year later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It also burns when you pee.
Yes. And Straight Sith Male says Polly in all caps. Straight Sith Male in all caps. What's up? This is Kyle is asking. I have a suggestion for your next thumbnail for the next stream. The rated R hero Midnight from My Hero Academia. No porn in thumbnails. Sorry, I think.
I second the idea.
No.
That is a real restaurant, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a real
apparently it is real and delicious. Okay, all right.
I don't know whether it is or isn't. I've never been there.
Road trip.
Mule 1066 says so. They're learning to code. No, these guys, no, no, because they have this thing that I like to call talent as actors. When none of the journalists who got fired have the aforementioned talent.
I don't know. Remember what show they're on, Polly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call it talent.
Hey, anybody can end up on a bad show, you know?
True.
Yeah,
True.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't call it talent.
Well, I'm just, hey, man, Sean Connery was in
Zardoz.
Zardoz. I mean, you know, great actors can end up in bad shit, man. It happens.
The gun is good.
True story.
The penis is evil.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, that's an actual quote from that film. This gal says she's not porn, just classy. Hit me up in DMs, man. Let me know. I'll take a look at it. James Colley asks, what's wrong with Comichistorian? Do any of you have issues? Do any of y'all have issue with Rob of Comics Explained? Oh, Comics Explained. No, not really. Comics Explained can be cool. Definitely from time to time. What's wrong with Comichistorian? Okay, first of all, there's nothing wrong with Comichistorian. I'm just not a fan. And that's not to say anything bad against the guy for me personally. It's just I'm not a fan. I don't get excited with his stuff. And he gets away with things that other YouTube comics people would never get away with. Yeah. He will ruin the point in buying a lot of comics because he will literally show every single page and he never gets copyright struck. And he has a lot of friends in comic book pros and comic book corporate media. And it shows because he gets away with a lot of stuff that anybody else their channel would be gone by now if they tried pulling the shit that he does. So it's kind of frustrating to see that happen. That's all. And so is it what's wrong with them? Nothing wrong where if you like them, you should stop watching them. Like, if you know what I mean.
No, he's not like a pervert or anything as far as I know. He's just kind of chubby. But I don't like his hair. I think it's stupid. And that's a big deal for me. And because it's purple, and that triggers my SJW radar. And he is kind of an SJW. He's very smug, and he was crapping all over Comicsgate with clearly not knowing anything about it. And he does ruin comics for people. I think he's driving people away from buying issues and supporting the industry by just telling them the entire story. And he's arrogant about it. That's what I don't like about him.
All right, this is Kyle says he doesn't have a computer, but he's going to try sending me some stuff. Don't worry, man. I'm going to make a note to myself right now. I'll look it up. No worries.
Yeah, see, Ryan said he dyes his hair often. I don't trust guys that dye their hair a lot to unnatural colors. It makes me think they're up to something. It's like weird peacocking.
Weird peacocking. I like that. Let's see. Where else is this? So, yeah, you know, rumors of possibly being fired. Mount would then post another tweet indicating the show might be canceled, where he says what? Our at somebody is a great leader who enjoyed a special relationship with everyone in the cast and crew. But my dog Mac got a special treatment. This was taken during a break from the show. How does that indicate that the show's canceled?
I don't know. Maybe because all the characters are poorly developed, and Michael's a Mary Sue named Michael, and the show's just terrible. Michelle Yeoh was the best thing about that show.
Well, she's getting her own spin-off show, so it's all good.
Yeah.
If you notice, Mount uses enjoyed, I see past tense, right? Indicating the relationship is in the past. Yeah, but literally referring to something that happened in the past. You guys might be reading into this. Nerdotic, or neurotic, as some people like calling him, also indicated he has spoken to 2 insiders. One of the insiders told him that the show is undergoing reshoots, but CBS is not paying for it. So who is? His insider explains that J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, which is J.J. Abrams' studio, for those who don't know, is paying for the reshoots. And the reason CBS isn't paying is because the second season is allegedly costing upwards of $150 million. The insider would definitely declare that Star Trek Discovery is, quote, dead.
Now, wasn't Stargate made for like a third of that?
Yeah, it's people reference all the way up to Star Trek Enterprise. It was running at $1 million an episode, and they were running 24 episodes in a season, so $24 million for an entire season.
Wow.
And they're running 150 mil. Admittedly, that's some 10, 12 years later, but I don't think inflation accounts for the difference there.
I don't either. I would think special effects got cheaper because, I mean, shit, I could do special effects with, Vegas Pro?
Right.
Come on. And After Effects, if you can do it on your desktop, I don't understand why this is costing so much. It doesn't have to be top-notch. You're not making a movie. There's no reason for them to be spending this much money.
Adding to the speculation that CBS might cancel Star Trek Discovery is the fact that CBS released the entire first episode of season 2 on YouTube instead of on their own CBS All Access that nobody accesses. Streaming service where... No, I mean, seriously, everybody jokes about it. The only reason that anybody ever signed up for it was to watch Star Trek Discovery at $5.99, I think CBS All Access costs a month, but they're only releasing like 1 episode a week, which means you can't binge watch them all at once and then cancel your membership. To do that on purpose. And like your boy Zach was joking, the only other thing that I even recognized was the prequel to Big Bang Theory. And I'm not watching that. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I mean, so they don't really have much other content, and it's going to kind of be like Disney when they launch their streaming service. They don't have the streaming rights and broadcast rights to anything as Star Wars. So what the fuck are they going to show?
Well, they've got a large catalog of stuff to go through with Disney because they're Disney. I mean, they have a bunch of like cartoons and stuff like that are in their vaults from like the 40s and 50s of Donald and Mickey, stuff like that they can advertise a goofy movie, things like that. So they can at least say, hey, we've got all the Disney that you could possibly handle in one spot. You get to see those repeats of Hannah Montana that you missed the first time around. So at least they have that. CBS didn't add anything. It was a bunch of nonsense trash.
Yeah.
And they don't have that big of a catalog to go through and say, hey, watch our show. What are they going to do? Show repeats of like some Mary Tyler Moore knockoff from 60 years ago? Come on.
Murphy Brown reboot and shit. That's CBS, isn't it? Yeah, that failed miserably because it was all fuck Trump. Anyway, Star Trek Discovery has been heavily criticized from multiple angles. You might have heard some of that here on Comic Book Curation. Many, like Dave Cullen, oh shit, I mentioned Dave Cullen from Competing Forever off of YouTube,
wow,
have called the show out for its social justice agenda, and he wasn't wrong, that focuses on current day politics involving race and diversity. It most certainly does. Other critics, like Red Letter Media, yay, questioned who the show was made for and pointed out how it drastically departs from Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry's lore. Yeah, it absolutely does, and they weren't wrong. The show has an average audience score of 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. 51%, Jesus. That's with the Russian hacking help.
Wow. That's terrible. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just like, the whole thing is just like, it's not enough to kill Star Trek. They got to spit on its grave too, you know?
Yeah. Well, the show isn't that good. It's pretty... okay, so one of my friends watched it and said it was okay. He's pretty liberal, so he didn't mind the social justice stuff too much, but he said, it just wasn't dynamic because it felt like anything that was happening wasn't a real threat. It was like, that's the Mary Sue aspect.
Right.
You know, You just know that Michael's going to come out in the clutch and she's going to save the day because she's the best ever. And
it is heavily Mary Sued. I mean, and every male on the show isn't just there; they're there and incompetent. It's like, how the fuck did you even get on a ship?
Well, I mean, you have to allow a few of the penis bearers to come in just for diversity's sake,
and be incompetent as fuck. While the blazing heroic warrior women do all the work. It's like,
yeah.
But and Colin's right, and Mike and Rich from Red Letter Media are absolutely right. It absolutely reads like that. It telegraphs what they're thinking.
Yeah, it plays into power fantasies of really angry cat ladies. Now, I'd be willing to bet that if they did a sensory version of it, like some kind of VR simulator, so all your senses were there, Michael Burnham would smell like cat urine to really add to the effect of her Mary Sue-ness. Because, and she'd wear a pussy hat.
Speaking of pussy hats and bitter women, Santa Amanat praises Captain Marvel's audience transformation. The sales tell a different story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this. Like, I mean, the audience. Captain Marvel has been rebooted. What? It's been 5 times in the past 3 years or 4. I can't remember.
The new one's volume 5. So
volume 5. Like, I mean, Jesus, they're not going to give up. They, meaning Marvel, they're just going to keep. We will make Captain Marvel, Carl Manvers popular. Fuck you. You will like it. And it's like, no. It seems to be the audience response over and over again. No, and they just won't stop.
Because Captain Marvel was cool when it was the one on the left, or the guy that yells Shazam.
No, Monica Rambeau all the way.
She's third in line.
No, Billy Batson all the way. It's the only Captain Marvel.
So let's see what the
Carl Manvers was actually Miss Marvel. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
What is Santa Amanat's title at Marvel again? She's chief officer in charge of character development or something like that.
Something like social justice warrior. Yeah.
She is the social justice commissar at Marvel. She is the one who is infamous amongst our crowd anyway for saying the line that she wants to rebrand Marvel as a lifestyle brand. Whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Anyway, Marvel Comics Vice President. Oh, it says right here at the beginning. I guess I should have read it. Marvel Comics Vice President of Content and Character Development recently penned an interview with Brie Larson for In Style, where she praises Marvel Comics audience transformation when it comes to their Captain Marvel comics. Yes, a transformation from people buying it to phantoms not buying it. Amanat would write, quote, as the editor of the Captain Marvel comic, "Oh, so it's your fault. Way to take charge. I witnessed firsthand how the audience transformed around Manver's reimagining. The contingency of superfans coined the Carol Corps celebrated the change as a sign that the comics were becoming more welcoming to female audiences." Is that why you had to restart it 4 or 5 times? Is that why, Santa? Okay. Yeah, the audience transformed all right. Amanat joined Marvel in 2009 and began editing Kelly Sue DeConnick's run on Captain Marvel in 2012. She started out as an associate editor, but by the end of the run, she was listed as an editor. The series debuted in July of 2012 and shipped 41,000 units to local comic shops. Thank you for saying shipped, not sold. We shipped them. How many did they actually sell?
Probably
I don't know.
none.
Yeah, there was a lot of Captain Marvel kindling is what we're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The book was the 42nd most shipped book in July of 2012. You guys in chat capturing the theme here? Like we shipped a hell of a lot of them. Yeah, and then what do the comic stores do with the unsold editions? Go on Twitter to find out. Look at the stacks of unsold SJW comics. They just sit there, and that's why comic book stores go out of business like they do lately. 50 last year. How many is it so far this year? My God.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to do is somebody's going to be renovating one of these abandoned comic shops, pulling drywall down, and they're going to find a bunch of insulation is made up of these shredded versions of these comics that nobody wants. They've just been wedging them in the drywall to keep the winter at bay.
This is This is Kyle says, I liked Miss Marvel, but she was a cartoon at the time. Yeah, right. It's
I need to bring up one very important thing too. For all of those people who might only know Captain Marvel from, now or even in the Miss Marvel days, we bust balls on Rob Liefeld quite a bit for his blatant theft of Deathstroke for Deadpool.
Mhm.
How about let's cast a little shade on Roy Thomas and Gene Colan here for creating Carol Danvers. Carol Danvers was first appearance was in Marvel Superheroes number 13 in March 1968.
Yeah.
Kara Danvers as Supergirl was first shown in 1958. 10 years before the Marvel ripoff.
Oh, yeah, that always goes both ways.
Let that sink in for a second. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that Carol Danvers is a straight-up ripoff of Supergirl? Oh, yeah.
I did not know that, actually.
Yes, she absolutely is.
My God. Okay. Well, on we go here to finish off this story about Amanat writing her own puff piece. Literally writing her own puff piece.
Yeah.
Looking at Amazon, Captain Marvel, Earth's Mightiest Hero Volume 1, which collects the first 12 issues of DeConic's 2012 run, doesn't even crack the top 2,000 comics and graphic novels published by Marvel. It's 2,085. The second volume, which collects issues 13 through 17, as well as a couple of issues of Avenging Spider-Man, Avengers: The Enemy Within, and Avengers Assemble, performs even more poorly. It can't even crack the top 4,000 graphic novels from Marvel. It's ranked 4,544. The audience sure did transform. It evaporated into smoke. Ouch. You still a joke, man.
Snapped away.
DeConic would return for another Captain Marvel series in 2014, which was also edited by Sana Amanat. You think they'd stop letting this woman make decisions?
Yeah.
The first issue shipped 44,000 units. This series lasted only 15 issues. The 15th issue shipped 19,000 units. By the time the run ended, Captain Marvel was the 124th most shipped comic of the month. Given this series is the one the film is based on, the trade paperback has seen a resurgence on Amazon. Captain Marvel, Volume 1, Higher, Further, Faster, More. Really? That's what you titled it? Higher, Further, Faster, More? Is the third highest selling comic book Marvel Comics graphic novel. The second volume, Stay Fly, is just inside the top 200 published graphic novels by Marvel, coming out at number 186. The third volume, Alas Volet Propolis, somebody with their Latin, help me out there in chat, is outside of the top 1,000 superhero graphic novels. Yeah, so they're not doing well as a short version, and like nobody's surprised. Look at her. She'll de-patriarchyize you. She'll decolonize your thinking. Okay.
At least there she kind of looks like a woman instead of with that faux hawk.
Yeah, I like this cover. Is this Alex Ross?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, when she's putting that glove on, she looks like the look that the doctor that hates you giving you a prostate exam. You know, like, all right, bend over.
Oh my goodness.
She's making a fist too. No.
Yeah, she's going deep in all the way.
Jesus. The book would once again be relaunched in 2017 with The Mighty Captain Marvel by Margaret Stoll and Ramon Ranasosos. Amanat would still be credited as an editor. Seriously, stop letting her make decisions. The series would...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, Sana Amanat has a lot of power at Marvel.
Yeah, she really does. Like, she's a heavy hitter.
Let's put it this way. It's not just at Marvel. Going to her Wikipedia page, if you want to present me, Polly.
Oh, yeah.
Her... Amanat presenting President Barack Obama a copy of Miss Marvel Volume 1 at a reception for Women's History Month.
Wait, women have a history month?
Jesus Christ. Okay, that month is embarrassing. That picture's embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed on behalf of people I've never met. Oh my god.
She is super short too.
Yes, she is.
Wow.
I'm just saying, like, you know, and this is also coming from a dude who did vote for Obama twice. That is kind of gross. Everything about that was kind of gross because it's also Muslim Miss Marvel, not Carol Danvers.
Oh, it's Miss Marvel. What's her name? Oh shit, what's her
Kamala
name?
Khan.
Kamala Khan. Yeah.
Miss Marvel. Yes.
Wow.
Everything about what Quiz just said makes me sad.
It really does. Like that's just like it's so like leaving comics aside for a quick second, like just on a political, it's over polished and lame and vapid. Like, we're gonna give you this comic book because it's a Muslim superhero and your middle name's Hussein. You should like it. Like, what's going on here?
It's sort of like your grandma trying to be hip. You know, there's something really off-putting about it. Like your grandma's listening to hip hop.
Oh, dude.
And you know that picture's up in her office too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say it's on her Wikipedia page, but
Right.
you
Right.
know, Jack, that grandma trying to sound hip is Miss Marvel. Everything that is Miss Marvel is as you described right there.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the most succinct way of putting it.
that's what they're doing with Captain Marvel too. They're trying so hard. It looks like you're trying too hard because you are. And look at the writers they've got on there. Kelly Sue DeConnick, she's one of the most divisive political people they could find, and that's who did the relaunch for this. Come on, this is just insulting to fans, like purposefully insulting.
Oh yeah.
One thing is clear is that based on the sales data from industry tracker Comicron, Captain Marvel struggles to maintain its initial audience, much like many other comic books on the shelves. However, the most recent ongoing series ended with an almost complete annihilation of its readership, shipping less than 11,000 copies. That's fucking brutal. Oof.
Yeah, see, this series that we're looking at now, where she's in the Warbird costume, that actually started out pretty good. She was cool back then, and they just stripped away every element that was good about Miss Marvel.
Well, she certainly looks like, well, she looks like Brie Larson now, like Carl Manvers, like flat, not athletic. You know, there's a reason people in comics get jokingly referred to as Carl Manvers, because they draw her like a man with a big jawline. She's not a physical specimen. I mean, they don't draw, I don't know, Captain Britain or the Hulk like a woman, do they? Like, do you know what I mean?
They all look like yoga instructors now. They've feminized the men, and they've made all the women look like really butch.
Remember, the Hulk isn't drawn like a woman, but he is Korean.
That's right. He is Korean. He's been diversified.
Yes.
So enough of that depressing stuff. Like, I don't know, guys. What do you think Miss Marvel, like the film, what Captain Marvel rather, what do you think? Like what if it bombs, man?
It won't.
I don't care at this point. Okay. No, okay, I do care. I'm just gonna walk that right back. I do care. I want Miss Marvel to be a success. I want it to be a success.
Okay.
Yes, I want it to do well, because that's the only way we're going to get an America Chavez movie, and I want an America Chavez movie.
Hey, I'm the nihilist here, Quiz.
It's the only way we'll be able to bring on the apocalypse. It's got to happen somehow.
Well, I generally enjoy your collapsitarian approach because I have the same philosophy of just burn it all down. I don't want that in a movie format. I want to be entertained while Rome is burning around me.
Yeah.
So, as far as what I think about the movie, I think it'll probably do okay, but it's gonna start high and then end low.
I don't know,
like a quick dip.
If we're talking actual sort of things, though, I can see it going one out of two ways. I can see it going not gangbusters like Black Panther. I don't see this movie doing Black Panther numbers, but I can see this movie either doing okay or it being a straight up Ghostbusters 2016. I can see them doing Ghostbusters 2016 to Miss Marvel.
Yeah, my bet is that it's going to be an average movie, because they've got scrolls in there. If you screw up the Kree scroll affair, then you're doing it wrong. Because I don't think they're going to go full on Kree scroll war. I think that's going to be the next Avengers thing. But Skrulls and Captain Marvel has cool powers. But I think it's going to be just mediocre. And they're trying so hard to pump it up. These commercials are terrible for it. The trailers are awful. They're boring. She comes off as kind of aloof and smug. And Sam Jackson can't save every movie he's in.
No,
So
he can't.
I think it's just going to end up being overall like a very mediocre, moderate success. It's not going to be what they're hoping it is. It's not going to be this big girl power feminist revolution thing.
No.
Well, Brie Larson thinks that Captain Marvel, the film here, is her form of activism. Have you heard about this?
Nice transition, Polly.
Should I bring up my response to you, Polly, from when this dropped on Twitter?
Oh, I remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you introduce it, and then I'll.
Well, okay. I love her comments. Like Brie Larson, she's just so fascinatingly vapid to me. Maybe she's not actually this way in real life, but when she talks to interviewers, or you see her in a recorded interview or whatever, this is the way she comes across. She would continue in this interview, quote, "The movie was like my biggest and best opportunity I could ever have asked for. It was like my superpower." Yeah, and I didn't add the like. That was actually in there. "This could be my form of activism, doing a film where I could play all over the world and be more places than I could physically. It was very weirdly emotional. I just kept thinking, oh my God, am I going to be like a Disneyland character?" Like, she's just, God damn it, Brie, stop talking. You have PR people for a reason.
My response when I first read this was, my form of activism is to get paid entirely too much to be a mediocre at best movie that other people will bring significance to my overly actually privileged life. Fix that for you, Brie. You're welcome.
Jesus.
I'm fucking brutal. I don't give a shit. I hate these sorts of vapid people from Hollywood. I hate them.
Yeah, because most of them are like that. No, she's one of those people that I would call small town hot. Like, if you went to a small town, there's going to be one really hot chick by the standards of everyone around. She's one of those people. And then she gets to Hollywood and she just blends in with the background. She's every Hollywood D-list actress. She's not super talented. She's not ugly, but she's not super hot. She's totally bangable, but in that like milfy mom kind of way, like Elizabeth Shue. So, and she has all the acting range and personality of a block of wood.
Brian Walters says in chat, "I'm waiting for the porn version of Captain Marvel with better writing." Jack responds, "#me too." You two are dicks, man.
Yeah, well, not wrong. You know, and if this movie tanks, they could probably cast Brie Larson in it.
Oh my God. Yeah, well,
no, she comes off as a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna. She's gonna be fine. Unfortunately, Brie Larson is one of those actresses who's just never gonna go away. Now she's gonna be floating around in films for the next 10 years. You know, strap in and prepare for the vapidity, guys.
She just comes off as one of those people that's full of herself and has nothing really to say. She's like Jennifer Lawrence. Like, she's just easily replaced in any movie she's in. Although
she's very much like Jennifer Lawrence. That's a good analogy. It's like, you could think Jennifer Lawrence is cute, and I'm not saying she's ugly. She's a pretty girl, but it's like, is she really so special in any kind of way that, like you said, she's not easily replaced by any other blonde actress in Los Angeles?
Right? Although I would give Brie Larson credit for not having a weird giraffe neck. So, because I think Brie Larson's pretty attractive, but she comes off like such a bitch. Like,
that's just it. Like, Brie Larson's not ugly. She's a pretty woman. What? Yeah. Like, it's just, you come across like you're vapid, like you think you're like are destined for stardom. I'm not on Instagram, but I've seen enough of her Instagram pictures retweeted on Twitter, like resent out on Twitter or in articles or whatever. And she's always posed and she thinks so much of herself and she talks about like the fashion she buys. And you are oddly self-obsessed or deeply insecure. It's weird. or both.
Yeah,
I don't know.
if she was in Hollywood in the 40s, she would have been doing way better than she is now, because that sort of thing was, you had that distance between the audience and the actors where things like that was interesting to people. Now we get dumped on so much with their nonsense. They just open up Twitter and dump out their purse on our lives. So I think she would have been one of those actors that you thought was classy and cool back in the 40s.
Right.
Because she has that kind of look, the if you look at all the actresses from the 40s, they all have like that same kind of look as she does, I guess. I'm not explaining this well, but nowadays she just comes off as being a smug bitch, especially after that TSA agent hit on her.
Yeah.
I can't forgive her for that, because she's never, like, she basically shamed that guy. He thought he was hitting on some pretty girl because she's small town hot. And she's really like some pseudo Hollywood celebrity. Although I would watch a movie where Brie Larson and Jennifer Lawrence were both in a small town high school, and Jennifer Lawrence was angry because Brie Larson is slim.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else. That's fine.
Well, I would watch a movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Brie Larson, but
I totally thought you were going somewhere else with that, Jack.
I wouldn't go as lewd as you were thinking, Polly.
Yeah, see, I wasn't going there. I was just thinking small town rivalry, but
right.
No,
totally set up for the Hallmark Channel. No problem.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is not attractive. She's a 6 on a good day. She's,
you know what? It's the reason I like talking about that when I say, she's a 6, she's a 7. Have you seen her without makeup? Did you see her in her fappening pictures that got leaked off of her phone or whatever? Not that I think anyone's privacy should be violated, because I don't. But when they end up getting out there, and you see them. These women actually are 6s and 7s. They're just really well made up. They've got spectacular lighting done by professionals and professional photographers, and then professional Photoshop editors who touch them up after the fact. The point in the end is, if you like Jennifer Lawrence, if you like whoever, like name the actress, odds are there's somebody at your local mall, coffee shop, or whatever that's equally as hot. Stop fawning over them and go talk to your local girls, because they're just as hot. That's my point. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to fawn over these people in Style magazine being interviewed by people who are attempting to pump them up to make them millions of more dollars, when there's somebody who's hotter or as hot and probably far more interesting just down the street.
And less crazy.
Well, I can't guarantee that, but it's possible.
Odds are better.
Yeah, there's nothing you said there, Polly, that I disagree with. It could just be my contempt for like the Hollywood sort of mindset and the people. But there's nothing you said there that I disagree with.
Yeah, that was very well said.
So, well, I have my occasional moments. Let's talk about ABC passing on the all-female superhero show, because ABC apparently got a stroke of common sense. I don't know.
Who says this one? Was it New Fate 26?
That's right. New Fate 26. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And if you guys want to, we don't have a hashtag, do we, for comic book curation?
No, we should. Is hashtag CBC available?
Well, I looked that up, and I think that's the Canadian Broadcasting Company. I think that's like state television in Canada. It's like BBC for Canada.
So what you're saying is we have to go to war with Canada.
I am perfectly fine with this. But no, the @CBC is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay.
But there is no hashtag CBC.
All your maple syrup belong to us.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. There is.
Is there? See, I just thought, like, what did Monkey get caught with Monkey in the Morning? He ended up trying to appropriate the One Direction. Like the band. It's like a hashtag for One Direction.
Yeah, and he's crushing them too.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but if you like, you guys in chat, dude, check to see if I'm wrong. Go to the YouTube main page and type in Ranting Monkey. his channel shows up, then plus all of these Asians that run under the name Ranting Monkey. It's great. It's like when you look up Polydub, you will find this dubstep Polynesian group that goes by Polydub.
Obviously a tribute band.
Yes.
If you're gonna come up with a moniker, guys, always double check to see if someone hasn't taken it first. Moving along, ABC passes on female-centric Marvel superhero show. ABC has reportedly passed on bringing a female-centric Marvel superhero show from Wonder Woman writer Alan Heinberg to pilot. Didn't even give him a pilot. In your face. The show was teased back in September of 2018 and was supposed to feature a number of Marvel's lesser-known female characters. There was speculation it could have featured the A-Force, Lady Liberators, or the Fearless Defenders. Who are these people?
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, do you actually know, Jack?
No.
Quiz? No, I've never heard of them.
I've heard of a few of them, but I couldn't tell you who's on them.
The Lady Liberators? That's like Fearless Defenders. Okay, that's very comic booky. A-Force, cool. The Lady Liberators, though? Who the hell's in that group?
That sounds like a porno.
It would have been executive produced by Heinberg and Marvel Television's Jeff Loeb. Deadline reports it's, quote, unclear whether the untitled hour-long drama from Heinberg, Marvel Television, and ABC Studios will be redeveloped. Apparently it's already been developed and then fell out. Details of this show are scarce. Heinberg told Deadline, quote, I hope there is more that we are doing together. That's weird, not a context. A number of Marvel television shows have been canceled over the past year. FX's Legion, which was an X-Men based series, was just recently canceled. A number of Marvel TV's Netflix series have gotten the axe, including Daredevil, Iron Fist, and of course, Luke Cage. However, ABC renewed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a 7th season before the 6th season even premiered. Both season 6 and 7 are only expected to run for 13 episodes, where the 5th season had run 22. Marvel also has Cloak and Dagger on Freeform, as well as Runaways on Hulu. Jessica, have you guys watched Cloak and Dagger at all? I haven't. How is it?
Oh my god.
What?
Hold on. No, just keep going.
Well, all right.
I'll get to it. Just
All right.
Okay, everyone, just remember, okay, keep those 3 super teams, those names in mind.
All right. Well, ABC might have passed on this female-centric Marvel superhero drama. It's possible it could find a home elsewhere. I hope not. ABC originally developed Jessica Jones before it was moved to Netflix. It's not out of the realm of possibilities to see this show get developed for Disney's upcoming streaming service, Disney+. Disney CEO Bob Iger already confirmed the platform is developing a Marvel show focused on Loki, with actor Tom Hiddleston really attached. Cool. Iger told Barron's in January that this is the initial goal for the streaming platform is to, quote, make more great stuff. Thanks, Iger. That's deep and meaningful. Quote, the most important thing for Disney executives is that they create great content for this platform. And I will know whether they have. Hold on. The most important thing for Disney executives is that they create great content, and I will know whether they have. Or they'll be fired? That's a sentence fragment. Instead of setting out numerical targets, you set different kinds of targets. Initially, it needs to be, I need everyone to set up and make more great stuff. Jesus, Iger. Were you drunk at this lunch interview? He went on to stress how important the Fox acquisition was in regards to Disney Plus, specifically pointing out the plethora of IP Fox had, the intellectual property. We needed a few things, and one of them, really the most important, was intellectual property, because we have none of our own. When we looked at the Fox assets and brands, National Geographic, FX, Searchlight, and the movie Avatar, the Marvel properties that they licensed, I could go on, The Simpsons, they had a lot we could use to feed the beast that we're taking to the market. Dude, stop doing interviews.
Yeah.
Okay,
It sounds like they're doing a black mass. We need to feed the beast with intellectual property. Bring me the sacrificial daggers.
All right, quiz. Just to remind our chat for what you're saying, keep in mind the series that I shouldn't have closed that tab, but while I keep talking, I'm reopening the tab, and they were, as my potato loads, A-Force, Lady Liberators, and the Fearless Defenders.
Okay, so A-Force was first appeared in A-Force #1 in May of 2015. So we've got a time frame for this, people. All right. It was a team led by She-Hulk. Initially consists of Dazzler, Medusa, Nico Minoru, and Singularity, a new cosmic powered hero. All right.
Okay.
The series takes place within Marvel's 2015 Secret Wars crossover line, which finds the entire Marvel universe, including the Avengers, disbanded. What is left for the patchwork of different environments, and one such environment called what is left is a patchwork of different environments, and on one such environment called Arcadia, which Wilson describes as a, quote, feminist paradise, unquote. A familiar threat rises that forces the A-Force to come together.
Huh.
Fearless Defenders is a team of female superheroes led by Valkyrie and Misty Knight. That series was created in February through December of 2013. Main characters are Valkyrie, Misty Knight, Annabelle Riggs, Danielle Moonstar, and Warrior Woman. Yeah,
All right.
Such creative names. And then the Lady Liberators. The Lady Liberators were created in 1970 as a single issue joke in the Avengers. Feminism was strong at the time, but the creators and the audience of the comic books industry still felt still overwhelmingly male. Roy Thomas created a group of caricature of feminism, and the Valkyrie, a new character introduced in the story, was revealed to be a villain that manipulated the female heroes by pretending to be a female liberator. Let's see. This is the word bubble on the cover that introduced the Lady Liberators. All right, girls, that finishes off these male chauvinist pigs. From now on, it's the Valkyrie and her Lady Liberators.
You know, somebody probably recently saw that and was like, oh my gosh, this is so woke.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. We're dicks. Okay. So
doesn't make us wrong.
No. You know, in looking up who the Lady Liberators were, I found this picture, and it's not of the Lady Liberators, although it's labeled as such, which kind of pisses me off. This is Women of Marvel celebrating 7 decades, #1. This is the variant cover. And I bring it up for us to nerd out for a second. I mean, we can name some of the obvious people, right? There's She-Hulk, right? There's Spider-Woman.
Look at all the boobs on this cover.
Yeah, they're all women.
At actual women. Sorry.
Yeah, so Wasp, right? Storm, looking 1980s. It's a Black Widow up front. Okay, who's this?
I don't know.
Is that the one that has the pet T-Rex?
Who the hell's that?
From the Runaways?
Yeah.
Might be.
Is sitting right beside her? Is that supposed to be Shadowcat in her old outfit?
Shadowcat.
Yes.
It's terrible. Okay, so there's Black Cat right behind her, Medusa. Yep. Who are these two back here?
That's Mary Jane and Pepper Potts.
Oh, was that Pepper Potts? I thought it was supposed to be Gwen Stacy.
No, why would that be Pepper Potts, not Gwen Stacy? Yeah, good question.
I don't know. Might be.
Okay.
Yeah, the headband. You're right. It probably is Gwen Stacy.
So Sue Storm, Sue Richards, Captain Marvel in her sexy outfit.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Okay, and we got Scarlet Witch here. So now, who are these two?
The one in the back flying is an old Invaders character. I can't remember her name.
And then an obvious Zatanna ripoff.
Like, is this? Why is the name Madam Web coming to mind? Isn't Madam Web old as fuck?
Yeah, Madam Web's dead. That's the replacement character, I think. The one that took over. Okay. I don't remember her name, but yeah, those are all legit characters.
No, I totally believe that. I'm just trying to nerd out. Like, who are all these people? Like, I know most of them, and then of course Jean Grey in the background, still ripping off Rachel Summers' Phoenix Force Fucking
Get
hell.
used to it. Jean Grey did it first.
And then died.
Yes.
Move on.
Oh, she's back.
Hashtag leave Rachel Summers alone.
I've got to agree with Gulf City here. Where the fuck is Squirrel Girl?
Yeah, no kidding.
We need that Downsy ape on that cover.
She was at the group home.
Dark Admiral Marchhair says it's Arachne. I didn't even think of that. Could be.
Oh, okay.
Good call. And hey, how's it going, Marchhair, by the way? So yeah, there is that. So we got ABC passing on their feminist focused whatever. Oh, here was the story that I was really looking forward to.
Well, Brian Walters made a good point too. Emma Frost isn't on that picture either.
Yeah, I know. Like, you know, the queen of sexy herself. Like, what the hell?
What about all of the other X-Men though? There's no Rogue. There's no.
Yeah.
You know, there was Storm in her.
Psylocke.
Punk rock. Yeah, no Psylocke. No
racist.
No Rachel Summers at all, because they would have had to have shown two Phoenixes. Goddamn Jean Grey won't stay dead.
And no Jubilee.
Oh yeah, no Jubilee.
Where's Jubilee?
Well, that was like 2015 era. Was Jubilee? Yeah, she was a vampire by then, wasn't she?
Oh my god, don't remind me.
I noticed there's a distinct lack of Asians in there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what they have against them.
Yeah, that said, well, She-Hulk was there. I was about to say they could have put in Hulk, but this is all ladies, and they haven't made She-Hulk not a white woman yet. So
Dust isn't in there, and neither is Kamala Khan. Mm-hmm. So I'm sensing a very anti-Asian persuasion theme here,
and no Latinx women. Where's America Chavez?
Well, that had the old Miss Marvel outfit, so yeah. I would venture a guess that was at a time where those characters didn't exist. Thank God. Can we go back there, please?
Samina Amina won't.
Yeah, and Griselle is like right, and you guys pointed it out. The oddest thing is no Rogue. Like, what are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. It's one of the most perpetually well-known and well-loved characters ever. What the hell? I'll tell you what it is. Hatred of Southerners. That's what's at the root of it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Tug would be dismayed. I'm telling you.
Where's the body positive chick from the Great Lakes Avengers?
Who?
The fat chick from Great Lakes Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
I what her name is. Hold on. I'll look it up.
In the meantime, this Bret Easton Ellis joins chorus of white men offering unsolicited opinions about Black Panther. I didn't read this article, y'all. I wanted to enjoy it because one, it's from the Mary Sue, yay. Two, it's written by Chelsea Steiner, who never fails to entertain over at the Mary Sue. And three, it's Bret Easton Ellis, who can be pretty spicy when he wants to be. I don't know what this article is going to say. And for those of you who don't know, Bret Easton Ellis is an author. He writes fairly spicy books that I've found all to be interesting. He was the author of American Psycho. It's probably his most famous one, Lesson Zero, which was made into a terrible adaptation of that book and on. So let's see what he had to say about Black Panther. The subheading is, "Nobody asked you, buddy." So I'm catching the tone early on this one. Excuse me. Bret Easton Ellis wants you to know that he thinks Black Panther is overrated and doesn't deserve an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. Go, Ellis, go. In an episode of his BEE podcast, the author ranted about the film's nomination, saying, quote, "No superhero film has ever gotten a Best Picture nomination. But believe me, Disney is doing everything in its power to make sure this happens. Even though there was no one out here in La La Land I've met who thinks Black Panther is good as a movie, yet as a piece of representation, they are supporting it." What's so controversial about that? Sounds about right. No?
Yeah.
He continued, quote, "The entertainment press and the studio is selling the notion that Black Panther is a grand piece of cinematic art that cannot be ignored. And this notion is being shoved down our throats, and we can only smile in disbelief, or perhaps understand that this is just the moment we're trapped in. A joke, a hoax. It's all fake news, folks." Wow. Oh, How original. An old white guy crowing about fake news. Hey, listen, Bret Easton Ellis is gay. Are you homophobic? Chelsea Steiner?
I'll get the A1.
I just hashtag homophobia no. Let's all tweet at her.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, like, at least keep it a little hidden. Look, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but apparently you don't think so. Even if you don't like Black Panther, that's fine. I highly doubt you think that.
Yeah.
Even if your biggest bone to pick with it is that it's diverse and inclusive. Yeah, that's my bone I'm picking. You might want to rethink your stance / your racism.
If you don't like the movie, you're racist. You heard it here first, folks.
I mean, seriously, she didn't imply that. She directly implied that. There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you, is my response to that statement. And even if you don't like it, you have to admit, between its massive box office success and its excellent reviews, it has made a major cultural impact.
No.
Nevertheless,
No.
Ellis continues sticking it to the Hollywood libs. Good for him. Quote, representation is so important to them, and with a huge, fatuous inclusivity and diversity push. What is the most flattering pose might be at the moment, as if inclusivity and diversity have anything to do with awarding a movie's merits. Yes, this is the culture the Oscars are pushing, and it is rather nauseating, end quote. Again, what's he saying that's wrong? Yeah, how dare you, Hollywood? Embrace diversity. I don't see Ellis making the same comments about Green Book, perhaps because it was written and directed by white men. This wouldn't be the first time that Ellis has taken umbrage with the Oscars. In 2012, Ellis tweeted that The Hurt Locker was only nominated because director Catherine Bigelow was, quote, a very hot woman. Well, you could take heart that he didn't mean it sexually. Like I said, he's gay, and your homophobia notwithstanding, I don't see why you're calling him racist. Continuing. I've always considered Bret Easton Ellis one of those red flag artists. And by that, I mean, if I met a guy who is obsessed with Ellis's work, I'd keep walking. Ellis is like Woody Allen or Roman Polanski, occupies a squicky category? Squicky?
That's not a word, is it?
Is that like a squicky?
I'll
Okay.
look it up.
Okay, thank you. Occupies a squicky category that calls into question someone's judgment. And don't get me wrong, I love American Psycho, Annie Hall, and Rosemary's Baby as much as the next cinephile, but people who obsess over these auteurs can have a blind spot when it comes to racism and misogyny. Ellis, especially with his treatment of women, both on the page and in real life, embodies an off-putting and violent aesthetic towards women that makes me uncomfortable. Besides, if we wanted searing film critique, we can do a lot better than the screenwriter of The Canyons.
So apparently it's not in any dictionary, but there is a Wikipedia entry for squicky. Slang engendering a feeling of disgust, distaste, nausea, or revulsion, but without a judgment regarding the rightness or wrongness of the stimulus.
See,
well, I don't think that's true, Wikipedia, because it definitely, if there's anyone that is proven to be judgmental.
It's okay. A lot of great things going on here in chat. Ryan Walter says Black Panther isn't diverse, it's homogeneous. Thank you. You're quite right. It's only diverse when compared to other films. It's entirely black people in front of the camera, except for when they go to South Korea, of course. And it's entirely or largely a black cast of creators and camera workers and directors and writers behind the camera. Okay, again, but that's homogeneous. It's like that infamous picture that went around the internet of all black women, and they were the fashion shoot, and they're saying, look how diverse this picture is. It's, what are you talking about? It's literally all dark-skinned black women. That's not diverse. That's homogeneity in a photograph. What are you talking about? I say, what are you talking about? Rhetorically, I goddamn well know what they're talking about when they say diversity. I know what they mean. It's
not white people.
Now
look, the cock hellhounds have had their chance, and now it's time for them to take a step back from their evil and their internalized whiteness and let other people get token awards.
Whiteness.
Yeah, it goes right down to the core of your soul. That's why you can't cleanse yourself of it. It's like original sin. So I understand what they're saying here. and I take their points, but I think he's just so misguided by wanting things to be based on like talent or merit or quality,
My
as
God.
opposed to just like, here's an award for because you can't earn it otherwise, black person.
And March Hare says nobody will care about this movie in a year. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty tepid movie. It's forgettable. I liked Aquaman better. I
Like,
know that's
and
a controversial opinion, but
I've not really. A lot of people liked Aquaman, but I've said it before on this stream and others. I like Black Panther. It's a good movie. Full stop. It's a cultural revelation that's going to change the edifice of shut up. It's good. It's enjoyable. I liked it. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but it's far from the worst Marvel movie. What?
Yeah, it's not even like my favorite movie with an all black cast. Like, it's okay, but I liked Shaft better. I liked Black Dynamite better.
I like the original Shaft better too. The protagonist was more compelling. John Shaft is more compelling as a protagonist.
Oh yeah, it was an action movie. It was fun. Stuff happened.
Yeah,
and I didn't feel bad for the bad guys because like Killmonger thought he was actually a pretty sympathetic character.
Yeah, like to the point where you're confused who to be cheering for a little bit. Yeah,
wasn't really cheering for anyone.
Yeah,
I liked Ross. He was probably my favorite in the movie, and sure, he was kind of cute, but overall, it was just kind of an okay movie. It didn't blow me away.
And then people said, like March Hare said, I wanted to see the movie until the marketing started. I remember Zelthor saying that because you've made me not want to see it with all of the stuff that's going on in Twitter, every hack media asset out there writing articles, rave reviews of a movie they've never fucking seen.
Oh yeah. The thing that turned me off onto it was we want to have an all black screening of Black Panther. I was like, oh yeah, are we gonna get new drinking fountains too?
Yeah, are we gonna have an all white screening of Birth of a Nation next? Like that's messed up.
Yeah,
it's fucking stupid. This whole idea behind separating people by race and wanting to give, quote, their race their due is counterproductive to the idea that we should be an integrated people, that everyone is equal. It's counterproductive. Do they not see this?
I think it's intentional.
Mustafa says the greatest line here. Did he even say anything about black people? Meaning Ellis. No, he didn't. Like, did he say anything negative, derogatory? No, he was talking about, and he wasn't even talking about the film. He was talking about the Hollywood people and their reaction to it and how they need to celebrate it because of this current fashionable cause célèbre of diversity and inclusion. That's the only thing he's referring to. And in response, Chelsea Steiner responds to this with it by saying, your racism notwithstanding, are you fucking kidding me? And who brought up someone's race? It's like joins the chorus of white men. So right in the headline, you're a racist and you're a sexist in a way that Bret Easton Ellis was not, commenting upon people. Oh, just like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the assumption that because of your skin color, your opinion doesn't count. Well, that sounds familiar. But there's better black directors and actors that could get an award that actually earned it and deserve it than what they're trying to pander to Black Panther, because it's always going to be tarnished by saying that it was just a token award. It's not there on merit. It's just an okay movie. It wasn't culturally relevant. It wasn't, 12 Years a Slave or Glory or anything like that. This is just an okay popcorn film.
And what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like,
there's nothing wrong with that, but just saying it's a mediocre movie doesn't make me a racist. It just makes me have actual movie taste.
And that's something that got repeated by these fucking NPC assets in media over and over again. This proves and blows away the stereotype that a black movie can't be successful. Hold on. Did you think that? Because I didn't think that. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nobody thought that. I mean, look how successful Friday was. Which is a pretty good movie.
they reveal themselves in their moral finger pointing. You know what I mean?
Well, it does nothing but set things back because you're standing up for people that don't want to be stood up for and trying to pander to them, and at the same time calling everybody else a racist.
Yeah.
Who wins in this scenario?
I've got to wonder though, would all of this sort of crap be ameliorated by if the directors and the showrunners of Black Panther were to come forward and to say, stop it. That's not the goal of all of this. We should be working together. People should be brought together. By their silence, are they being tacitly condoning?
Imagine the director saying something like, you know, an interviewer, especially some white lady like Chelsea Steiner. Actually, I'm assuming she's white. I don't know if she is. Some woke person asking. So what do you think? You know, all black cast, all, you know, this, and it's so diverse and its cultural impact as she describes it. And he were to respond with a question like, did you want to talk about the merits of the film or its story, perhaps?
Yeah. Not the fact that it was made by black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, the movie takes place in Africa largely, so of course everybody's going to be black. There's one or two white guys in there, just like they're, you know, because the government guy, whatever, and the bad guy. Cool. Okay, that makes sense in the realm of the movie. That doesn't make it some achievement to cast people that would logically be in the movie.
Yeah.
You know? I don't.
You know what? I'll say this for them. At least it's legitimately a good movie with all of the hype around it. Can you imagine if it was a crap movie and we had to pretend it was good?
Well, like I said, Polly, I think you're the only one between us that have seen it. I mean, Jack, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's okay.
I say I've not seen it. Zelthor is not the only one that was turned off by all of this this bullshit that's surrounding it.
It kind of reminds me of the. Sorry, go ahead.
I've refused to see this movie.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
It reminds me of the crap around Ghostbusters 2016. Remember when they started to describe it out of, I think, desperation as going to see Ghostbusters can qualify as a political act?
Yeah.
Are you that worried about people buying tickets that you're trying to politically guilt them into watching it?
They're doing that to Captain Marvel. I mean, look at the commercials for Captain Marvel where they say for her, and then it adds an O on there for hero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess Mustafa looked it up because he says Chelsea Steiner is Lily White. Okay, let us go over to because we're running a little long now, so let's go check out this thing that I wanted to talk about. So I was watching your boy Zach, one of his videos, right? Okay. And his how do you pronounce her name, Quiz? Nettie
Okorafor.
Okorafor, okay.
At least that's how your boy pronounces it.
This tweet came up, and it's like, how typical, my God, isn't Batman's whole character based upon his white privilege? Ugh, make it stop. What? I guess. And I actually was sitting there thinking about while he was talking about it, like, Zach, I think you might have that wrong. I think "ugh, make it stop" is saying like, "Ugh, stop complaining about white privilege." No, I was wrong. It was, you know what I mean?
Silly.
Yeah, I know. Goddamn optimism of mine. But this is what got to me. Check out the two things that she says after this. So odd. I don't want a black Santa or a black Roland or a black James Bond either. Create new dynamic black characters who don't have to ride the coattails of previous white versions of those characters.
Thank you. Yes.
Right?
That's what we've been saying
I was
for
like,
a very long time.
Shit. Dr. Akafor with the fucking knowledge. Like, damn. What's the line? Boss logic. You know, that's and then right after that, a black Batman? Ugh. Can we just create new characters who are black? Is it that hard? Blackwashing only means the foundation will always be white. It's not the answer. It's not even an answer.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're so right. I completely agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And you even use the phrase blackwashing.
And now hang on. There's one very important problem that we're missing from this.
Uh-oh.
Do you guys not realize the major problem?
She's also the woman who complained about Batman's white privilege?
Well, yes, but is Nettie Corafor the one that's currently writing Ironheart?
Oh, really?
Well,
That's a little... Wait a minute.
I've heard that
they blackwashed Tony Stark into Riri Williams.
Yeah.
But she actually gave Riri some depth.
That's Eve Ewing who's writing that. So no, I'm wrong. I am wrong. I've never been more happy to be wrong. No, Nnedi Okorafor, at least in terms of the comic books that she has written, she's written a couple of Wakanda Forever is the miniseries that she wrote when she was at Marvel. And your boy Zach kept on saying it was good. And from all of the panels and stuff like that I've seen from it, she has written Spider-Man more in character since probably anyone from the 90s.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Nnedi Okorafor she has my respect.
Yeah.
Just leave the whole, get rid of the white privilege thing.
I mean, it's like, because it's, who is it that said it? Ryan Walter says Bruce Wayne comes from old money. Sure. Yeah, I know that doesn't equal privilege. It's just who his character was written to be.
If you want to donate my white privilege fund, my Streamlabs link is in the chat.
Grill and Pirate Pete says parents murdered in front of you. White privilege.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
He was the victim of the lowest form of street crime, and somehow he's still privileged, right? And it's like, let's talk about, I don't know, as another example of a super iconic comic book character, Peter Parker. Oh yeah, dead parents, his uncle gets killed, he's broke as fuck. He can, no matter what he does to get money, it blows up in his face and ends up becoming worse to the point where he decides he can't use his superpowers for personal gain. This does not sound like a privileged kid. You know what I mean? It's just who the character, but that's who the character was written and created to be this guy with never-ending perennial problems that won't go away. That's who Peter Parker is. Bruce Wayne is written to be a billionaire who goes out at night to pretend to be, pretends to be a billionaire, but really is Batman kind of thing. He's, the Shadow, basically. Mm-hmm. That's just who their characters were written to be. This whole, Nnedi, you clearly are sharp as fuck. I agree with so much of what you have to say. Don't fall into this white privilege argument. It's a non-winner.
It's the religious aspect, man. You can't shed the concept of white privilege because it violates your social justice religion.
Oh, well, okay.
All cock hellhounds.
Faithless makes a good point. Money is its own privilege. It has no racial bias. Right.
Thank you. Yes.
Or T'Challa is privileged as fuck because he's got vibranium privilege.
Well, no, T'Challa is privileged as fuck because he's a fucking prince.
Well,
he has
but I mean, everybody in Wakanda is privileged because they're born into this land that's wealthy as fuck. So they live this standard that nobody in the surrounding countries that they, fictionally surround them are, they have this extreme privilege. Just like Faithless said, no, it's the privilege of the money. And it's who the character was written to be royalty and the vibranium thing in Wakanda. Get the fuck over and quit reading, rather grafting your own bias onto somebody else's fiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just looks desperate and sad. It's like listening to some cranky old racist that's sitting on his porch in the middle of Alabama with cars in his lawn that have no tires on them.
It's like listening to a cranky old racist. I love it.
Yeah. Your life is sad and miserable. That doesn't mean that somebody that doesn't look like you did it. Leave me alone.
Goddamn privilege what did this.
Oh.
I guess in the car.
I said I had the shortest story ever. I actually even have a shorter one than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hold on here. I can do it so short. Just let me look. Oh, there we go. Okay.
That's what she said.
We don't quite buy this leak, this rumored Star Wars title leak. This is from the Mary Sue because, any chance to make fun of them because it's the Mary Sue and they're just so far into their cult. I can't help but do it. And this story about the leak. What's that?
heads straight up their ass.
Yeah, and so it's this story, this rumored Star Wars title leak is on multiple other websites, but I was already on Mary Sue for that article about Bret Easton Ellis. Balance of the Force. There, done. Let's move on.
That sounds like a yoga workout. Like, all right,
Yeah.
Ray's going to teach us how to do Pilates. We're
Balance,
gonna
balance of the Force, Zelthor. What do you think of that? It's,
Got to do the downward dog to balance your force.
yeah.
I don't know. You got me. What balance of the Force? No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. But the Mary Sue's not buying it, so neither should we. I guess.
Polly Grisella has a question as to whether she could link her Comixology page for her comic book.
Sure, absolutely. By all means, pitch yourself if you'd like to. Yeah.
If
She
it
doesn't have
doesn't,
a wrench.
Oh, let me wrench you.
yeah. I was gonna say if it doesn't go through, send it to one of our Twitters.
Yeah, we'll promote it.
There you go.
Yeah, this is Kyle says, honestly, the way people seem to be losing their minds anymore about comics makes me not want to make mine. No, make yours, do your art, and if anything that they sorry, dude, Grisella, the A throws me off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've never made that mistake ever.
Ever, no.
You know, as sad as I probably knew that, but no, Kyle, make your art, do it. If anything, if people complain, turn that around on them and use that as publicity to sell more copies.
Jesus, yeah.
We need more good books out there.
Did you see Tug's stream from today? He was reviewing the new G.I. Joe. Oh my God, the art in it was like, it's all he talked about for 25 minutes because it was that bad. Like it goes back to stuff that we had been talking about repeatedly on Comic Book Curation Live. That what is the story? Is it that they're hiring Tumblr artists, or is it that?
Oh, that looked. I saw that. I was in that stream for like that 10 minutes where you saw me in there helping to shill this. No, I think that was more of like a special needs diversity hire where they found like some like special needs kid to draw a G.I. Joe book so they could get some kind of tax break.
Was or was it that the person was just like not quite ready for the professional level, but in this case, they were super rushed and had to slam out 23 pages in like 2 days? Or was it that that's all that IDW can afford to contract artists for now?
No, they have good artists on some of their books. It's just that that person's style looks like trash. It looks like a middle schooler wrote it with their offhand because their good one was broken in a freak bus accident. I don't know. I don't have a good analogy here.
Like, and it's, this is Kyle's like, or Ryan Walters rather. It's like they hired reporters that need to learn to code. Yeah, well, it's, you know what, so if you look at Ethan Van Sciver's early streams when he would do brutally honest portfolio reviews, there's no point where he ever said stop drawing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it would be like, okay, you need to work on your perspective. It's really off in here. Let me describe why and how you fix that and what you can do over here and here and different things like that. You need to spend more time on this. And it's like, and keep going. There's such a thing as having developed your craft to the professional level and not. All these people are better artists than I am. It's just, is it at the professional level yet? And if it's not, IDW, Marvel, DC, why are you hiring them instead of developing them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a skill that you can learn. And there are people that have a talent for it, and they're the legends. But you can still be a good technical artist by practice and refinement. But that person's just not ready for prime time anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
I understand that it's like a pop art style, but it looked like garbage and it looked unfinished. Because even like the panels that were colored weren't colored all the way. It makes it look lazy.
Yeah. I bought into the thing of super rushed because it looked super rushed. Like there was what's his name? Not Roadblock. He's black, right? The white guy who's kind of like he's got the Marine tattoo. He's huge. He wears a vest.
Gung Ho. In
one frame, in one panel, he's got a mustache, and the next panel, his mustache is missing. It's like things
Yeah.
were forgotten. They were off model in that kind of way. And it's like, that just screams to me, I didn't have time. What do you want from me? Like, you know what I mean? Someone was breathing down my neck.
But I've seen that artist's work before, and that's his style.
Really?
Well,
Yeah, it's just that shitty.
maybe they were trying to give an homage to the very first episode of G.I. Joe's the comic or the cartoon. Because the very first episode of the cartoon of both G.I. Joe and Transformers have the same mistake. They introduce a scene and they have the same character in the background board and on a cell. So they're on the screen twice. It's hilarious. Like Starscream, when did you get a clone?
Well, it's about that time, gentlemen. We're going to pitch some comics. Who wants to go first? Because it's not all negativity. We like comics here, believe it or not. And we speak in defense of the industry that we see slowly falling into mediocrity. But it's not all mediocrity, because we find positive things to pitch. And hopefully you'll get a chance to get a hold of them and enjoy them yourselves. I can go first if you guys aren't ready. It's up to you.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You go first.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to Jack what I pitch, because he's the one who turned me on to it.
I'm here to help.
Ghost. And I got the omnibus of it. This is volume 1 of the omnibus of Ghost from Dark Horse Comics. The first cover image just immediately grabbed my attention. It's awesome and sexy, and it looks deep, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. The story of this character is Eliza, I believe is her name, as we go on. And she is quite literally a ghost. She, sort of like Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, is intangible and she is dead. But the story is interestingly written from her perspective. She is bitter as fuck. She's vengeful as fuck. But it's only revealed through the narration that she doesn't know how she died. She doesn't know who she was before she died. And she's assuming she's dead. But by the end of the first volume, which is as far as I've read, she's starting to believe that she might not actually be dead. She's just intangible. It's fascinating. She has to concentrate to be able to manifest physically, to touch things or flip things or stuff like that. And it's through, again, she rarely talks. It's just the thoughts that are going through her head. She has a clue, one small clue, as to who killed her. And she's trying to track down clues. Now, in this place where she lives, called Arcadia, there's other metahumans, super powerful people, paranormal people that have begun to manifest rather suddenly. And there's no explanation immediately available as to why that is. I don't know, so I can't tell you. But again, it's almost like this comic is well written or something. Like there's mystery. You want to read more. It's like, why are paranormals suddenly appearing? Why are superheroes like this guy that has something to do with her death, but she knows not what? Where the hell did he come from? And what the hell's he doing? He tries punching her, but of course hits the wall. And what she wants is information on this. Does this mean anything to you? McCready, 6 p.m. And he tells her what little she knows. She's on a detective hunt to find out who caused her death. If she is in fact dead, she doesn't know. And where does she spend her time? Well, in a crypt, of course. And like all good superpowers, there's limitations written into it. Like I said, she has to concentrate if she's to touch anything. She can phase one person into the intangibility that she has, but she really has to focus to do it, and can only do it with one person at a time, which is fascinating. And found out accidentally that she can't phase through jade. So she has the entire inside of the mausoleum where she stays coated in jade and a jade chair, so she doesn't fall right through it, though she knows not why jade is something she can't pass through. Sort of her kryptonite in a way. I'm fascinated. This vengeful spirit who is after something she knows not what, is trying to hunt down her killer if she's in fact dead, and is just angry at the whole world, especially men, because she thinks it's your typical sexually overactive, sexually predatory males that somehow caused her death and that she's angry at. It's great. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. So yeah, that's my pitch so far.
Good. Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Sanctorum. I like it.
Oh yeah. I forgot I had this image up behind there. Sexy rogue staring at you again.
Yeah.
Upper lip is a little thin, but I like it.
Faithless asks, who bought the jade? That's a good question. I don't know where she got the jade from, but she accidentally found out about the jade when she was at a outdoor open air market when she was trying to phase through and ran into some jewelry and that was made out of jade and couldn't pass through it. She found it by accident. It's almost like it was written as opposed to just thrown together America Chavez style, where everything is told, not shown. You know what I mean?
Do you mean to tell me that you don't think that Gabby Rivera is the best author ever?
Yeah. You know what I find interesting about this? This is Kyle saying fat again. This says a lot because, okay, so Ghost, the character, yeah, she's got big boobs, and somebody said, it's like, boobs, you got my attention. And it's, what I find interesting is that this sexy look on this woman's face is as sexy as a scantily clad character. I think the feminists over at the Mary Sue and in other places really misjudge men in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean? That we're not nearly as creepy as you think we are, because you can barely see Rogue's boobs in this picture, but it's sexy as all hell. You know,
you cannot trust a penis bearer.
Yeah, fair enough.
They are marked with the mark of Cain. They are all evil.
I'm just saying. All right. So who's up next? Don't make me pick you.
I'll go.
All right.
Again.
I'm actually changing up my pitch from what I originally said before we started. My pitch is going to be a series of comics. It's a really weird series, but bear with me. They have collected all of them into a trade paperback. But it's written by Scott Schneider, penciled by Greg Capullo, inked by Danny Meeke, and colored by, what is that, Feo Plastencia? I guess. Sorry if I got that wrong. My pitch is Batman Endgame. If you've not read this series, I do recommend it. It's really good. It's coming off of the New 52 line. It's immediately after the Joker has come back. There was a whole story in early New 52 where the Joker was presumed dead because all they found of him was his flesh from his face completely flensed off. And all they found was just his face. Right? A lot of people chalk it up to DC trying to be creepy and weird and stuff like that. But this is the Joker's actual return from that. And the art in it is just absolutely incredible. But it begins with the entirety of the Justice League attacking Batman. Just completely out of nowhere. Like you can see right here, Bruce and Alfred are joking around, and all of a sudden, Diana just dives right through this window and tackles Bruce and like smashes his head on the concrete. And so it then is left to Batman to find a way to eventually take down the entire Justice League. And the reason why the Justice League are attacking Batman is because the Joker has developed a Joker toxin that infects the superheroes, but instead of killing them in the rictus grins, like is famous for the Joker toxin, instead it makes them have their darkest sort of desires and fantasies be enacted on their loved ones. And the Joker has released this toxin over all of Gotham. That that fog that you see here that's permeating all of Gotham is infecting the entire citizenry.
Huh.
And the Justice League. So Batman has to find a way to defeat the entire Justice League and then go after the Joker. And it's also they write in this this little I love how the Joker has so many different sort of stories that they give him, and it's like, which one is the real one? Well, they're either all real or none of them are real. So there's no real way to sit there and say, well, this is absolutely right. It's in this comic. Well, there's a contradictory one in this one. Well, the reason why the Joker is absolutely eternal that they give in Endgame is the fact that there is a Lazarus pit under Gotham that the Joker has been using since the 20s.
How many Lazarus pits are there supposed to be in the DC
They're
universe?
all over the place. They're like Coca-Cola vending machines.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, it's in my opinion very interesting. It's supposed to be yet another one of these Dark Knight Returns or The Killing Joke sort of series. Like you can see right up here, it's in Batman 35. So it's a middle issue. But the entire series of Endgame ends with Batman and the Joker killing each other. And then immediately after that series, it just starts back up again like normal. Yet another example of the fact that even within the middle of continuity, you don't need to worry about a story, about getting a background for a story, because chances are it's just going to be its own self-contained story and not be pertinent to anything that comes after or anything that comes before. So when people are sitting there saying it's intimidating to get into comics because there's all of this stuff that came before, this is a good example. I mean, the story starts in 35. It has almost nothing to do with anything that comes before it, and it has almost nothing to do with anything that comes after it. But it's a very interesting and very good story, in my opinion. The collection, I think, doesn't get all of the minutia issues that it was part of. The entire series for Endgame is Batman 35, 36, Annual number 3, 37, 38, 39, Detective Comics Endgame number 1, Batgirl Endgame number 1, Arkham Manor Endgame number 1, Gotham Academy Endgame number 1, and Batman 40.
Jesus.
That has been all collected as the Endgame Saga.
Yes.
And it's available as a collected edition?
A saga?
Yeah, it's coming out August 20th.
Got it. Okay, because there is an Endgame graphic novel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the Gotham Academy, the Arkham Manor, or any of those.
Yeah, I was just looking it up because I was like, this sounds pretty cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
But it's going to be $25 August 20th. So
yeah. It's great. It's one of, in my opinion, Dan Schneider's best Batman works.
Sweet. Okay, I'm interested. So that leaves Jack.
All right. Well, let me screen share. I also did a mid-story. Aquaman issue 31. This is part 1 of The Crown Comes Down. Atlantis has been conquered by Coram Wrath. Everybody thinks Arthur's dead, so he was apparently... I started here, I don't know. Apparently, Arthur is still alive, and this guy, Coram Wrath, has taken over Atlantis and is delving into magic heavily, like old Atlantean magic. And he's lifted something called the Crown of Thorns around Atlantis. No one can get in and no one can get out. And he's been sending his thugs called the Drift around the lower parts of the city to attack the sea-changed people, which are like the half sharks, like tiger shark, and some of the mutant people with like squid tentacles and stuff like that. And Arthur is trying to put a stop to that, so he has to do something big to get people to join the rebellion. And doing that means bringing the crown of... It's a 3-part story. King Shark's in it in this issue. And Mura is out of the picture. She's got this curse put on her by Coram Wrath where she can't breathe underwater anymore.
Oh, wow.
So that leads into the Mura Queen of Atlantis miniseries, which ties into issue 38 of Aquaman when he actually goes to fight a rebellion. It's really cool. That's a really good miniseries too. But look at the art in this. This is
Amy Cho is amazing.
It's not Amy Cho.
It's not?
No,
Okay,
it's not. It's
I noticed her on the cover.
Frederici or something like that.
Jesus.
Oh,
It is nice.
beautiful. It is.
Yeah, it's like paintings, but this guy does several issues. Then there's like one issue with Kelly, forget his first name, and he has that weird stylized abstract thing. And it's super jarring to go from this to that because they're totally different styles. But he stays the artist on more or less consistently through the rest of Dan Abnett's run. And I mean, the detailing is fantastic. I loved this book. It was so much fun to read. And you could just see the detailing and the line work. But if some people don't like this type of penciling, but I do.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
hates that?
I really liked it. Especially this panel was just really cool. He's talking to these are some of the people that are living in the 9th Triad, which are the Sea Change People Ward. They're sort of the outcast, dirty, poor people, filthy mutants. But it was a blast to read. And I mean, look at that. That's just an awesome sequence. And they got these cool armor. It's all, you know, like inspired by the old serial Undersea Kingdom. It's just a fantastic storyline, and it's all about Aquaman trying to bring down the thing shielding everybody from getting in and out.
Oh man, and Dan Abnett is such a good author.
Yeah, he really is, and it really shows because this is a really well put together storyline. This one is only like 3 issues long for this part of the overall meta story, but you don't really need to read the earlier issues. You get filled in enough to enjoy this for what it is. And I would actually recommend further issues down the line, but I might need some more pitches later. So my review on this is going to be up in a few days, but I really enjoyed this and I wanted to share because look at that cover.
It's beautiful. It is.
Frederici guy or Federici, it's an amazing artist. I had never heard of him before. I may have seen his work somewhere, but it's amazing. And this is a masterpiece. It was just an all-around fun comic, the kind we used to get in the old days that you just don't see much of anymore. So if you're looking for a good Aquaman story, this was definitely high on the list.
Nice. Whew.
Yeah, I do kind of want to get all of the Abnett series that he wrote for DC. I know he also was writing Titans for a while too. So
yeah, well, unfortunately that one's getting canceled. I heard it's good, but I just can't add anything else onto my massive pull list now.
No, I plan on probably getting those in collected in trade.
Yeah, well, the Aquaman ones I would definitely recommend in trade paperback because then you don't have to track down. It took me a little while to track down some of these issues because this book isn't selling well.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
so
and
unfortunate.
It is, and Kelly Sue DeConnick has taken over now, so you can imagine what that's going to mean for its numbers.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I know that Abnett definitely does have a lot on his plate because he just finished, I think, 2 books for Black Library, and now he's writing another 3 books to finish off the Colonel Commissar Gaunt series, and he's writing another trilogy for Eisenhorn. So
wow,
he's getting a lot of money from Games Workshop. I know that.
Good for him. They take a lot of our money from when we buy minis.
Yeah, right.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. And I had to put up Rogue one more time because I just really dig that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final thoughts, anybody? For me, it's like, yeah, buy old stuff, new stuff. Make sure you leaf through it before you buy it because you might end up really disappointed with $5 buyer's remorse for a single issue that's going to suck.
Yeah. I would say, as a good addendum, we definitely shill a lot of really good old stuff on our comic book curation lives here, but I would say be trepidatious, be an informed buyer. But don't count out new stuff either, because Batman Endgame, that's from fairly close to this year. Aquaman is this year. This year meaning 2018, not 2019. But you get what I mean. Those are new comics. They're not old comics. Jack and I both pitched new comics, so it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that comics made nowadays are all bad. Just be informed when you go in to buy.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, I would agree with Quiz. I mean, there's some good stuff out there on the racks. It's just most of it isn't worth $4.
Yeah.
So, be selective with what you purchase, because I know a lot of us have limited funds. Some of us spend money like we got more, but
yeah, right.
I would definitely look at the bargain bins too, because there's some good stuff out there on the new rack and always stuff in the discount bins. But yeah, if you don't want to give a company your money, check out some of the indie stuff. Alterna's doing great work, in my opinion. I love their books, and I'm going to continue to sing their praises. So get out there and buy some comics.
Yeah, enjoy the hobby. It's don't let the negative social media aspect of it turn you off. And that's Jesus, could there be a better message to comic book pros? You're actually turning people off from it. New purchasers, old purchasers, the fuck are you doing?
Well, and that's what I like about our stream, is we're actually sending out some positivity by pitching comics that we like.
Yeah.
Too many people are just in it for the complaining and drama.
Yeah. And as a final note, to those listening right now, please remember to like if you like the stream. If you haven't already, backhand that like button. And to those listening in the future, feel free to comment beneath. I do get a chance to read all of the comments and respond to damn near every one of them, I think. Also, Chaos Eve has generously went through the trouble to set up a Discord for us, which will be going public, launching very soon with a minor amount of tweaking and development. And we are very thankful to Chaos Eve for having done that. I got a look at the work she had put in over the past week, as did Quiz last night, and it looks excellent. We are really grateful that she went through the trouble to do that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So absolutely, get out there, buy comics, enjoy the medium. It's a lot of fun. Until next time, everybody, have a good night.
Take care, everyone.